Hello, and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager 4 stream. My name is Adam. I'm the Community Manager of Franchise Hockey. With me, as always, is FHM producer Jeff, who's pictured in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back with our 2017-2018 Brandon Wheat Kings schedule. It is the end of November. We are 15-5-2 for 32 points, and yet we are only third place in the conference. Jeff, what is going on?
We got a really strong conference, which is pretty much what's happening in real life, too. It was just a WHL trading deadline last week. And Brandon, I don't want to say they completely gave up, but they traded away Kyle Clegg and Tanner Kaspick, which kind of and mainly got future stuff for it, draft picks, and at least one really good prospect. But right now it looks like they're not holding out too much hope of winning the division this season. Moose Jaw's actually way out in front, which they aren't in our game. Regina has loaded up. They're the Memorial Cup hosts this year, so they're kind of obliged to field a decent team. So they've traded away pretty much their entire future. I don't think they've got a draft pick in the Bantam draft this year higher than 10th round. And they've loaded up their roster for a big run at the playoffs. Swift Current is also right in there too, as they are in our game. Regina is actually leading the division in this game. But we are not going to give up quite so soon on Brandon, because I think we've still got a shot at this, about a third of the way through the season. And we're 15-5-2, and we actually haven't been getting that much scoring out of our key guys yet. So I think there's some room for improvement there. A couple of things I should mention before we get going. This is, as usual, I'm playing on a test version of the game, so I've got some testing options turned on. You may see that. And when I would normally say we may run into problems like a crash, but one of the things we think we finally got fixed is the interface crashes that we had been running into. Found a couple of potential causes for them, and found one that looked really likely, so we seem to have shut that down. And as far as have you had a crash in your games in the last week or so, Adam?
Not for quite a while.
Yeah, no, me neither. So I think we're finally on solid ground as far as stability goes. So that's good news, and we've made a few other changes to the game, and probably still going to be room to sneak in a little bit more, but I think we're aiming for something possibly towards the end of next week for the next update release. No guarantees yet.
All right. While you're doing that, question from the chat already. Gudu Creative asked, Jeff, are you a Giants fan as well? And I'm assuming he's talking about the Vancouver Giants.
Not the New York Giants.
Or the San Francisco Giants.
Note all three, actually. As I'm a Kelowna, so I'm a Rockets fan.
Trying to think what the name of the Giants team is in the Japanese baseball league.
Yomiuri.
Right. Are you a fan of them?
No, so that's 0 for 4 on the Giants. Okay, looks like we got a game tonight. I'm going to be simming through, I think, most of these games. I think our lineup is the way we wanted. I'm actually going to make some global tactics changes. Up the offensive risk taking a little bit, because I think we can get away with it. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Just because I'd like to get a little bit more production out of our top guys, because we haven't really seen that yet. Matheos is having a good year, Clegg as well, but I'd like Lewis to be scoring a lot more than that. And there's a few other guys. Who was it? Weinger doesn't even have any points this year yet. And he's one of our overage guys, so he should be producing more than that. But let's see if we can pick that up a little bit. But yeah, no, definitely not a Giants fan, Kelowna Rockets fan.
Which is why he corrects me and tries to tell me different names all the time of some former Rockets players, which I debate.
And we lose 4-3 to Swift Current, who's... Hopefully that didn't put them ahead of us. Yes, it did. Okay, that's not a great way to start this, but I'm going to be simming through most of these because we kind of want to move this along a little bit faster, because the stretch run in the playoffs and the trading deadline will be interesting. So we probably won't be watching a whole lot of games this stream. Yeah, that's actually 2 in a row. Have to take a little closer look and make sure that wasn't a bad idea. And we got a storyline thing. Cody Glass fell down some stairs.
Wow,
And
that's not very good.
Dislocated his shoulder. That's not great. And looks like he's out for 4 weeks. So not good news for Portland, but hey, at least it wasn't us.
Yeah. Maybe actually good news for us.
Well, they're totally opposite divisions, so we won't be seeing them unless we got a road trip coming. I'm not sure, but until like late in the playoffs, if at all.
Well, I thought maybe we'd be playing them sometime soon.
Yeah, I can check. Yeah. It's one thing with WHL. There tends to be some fairly long gaps between games, just because it's a little easier on the younger players. So we've got a little bit more time to fill between games. It's not as distributed as evenly as the NHL games are. What was I going to look for? Oh yeah, Portland. Nope, not seeing them anytime. I think we've already planned on not until end of January, so he'll be back by then. So that helps us not at all. And we're in the middle of a fairly big road trip here. Got Red Deer
Sean Woodmeyer in
tonight.
the chat asks, what's happening? Sean, we're playing Franchise Hockey Manager 4. We are the Brandon Wheat Kings of the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League based in Canada.
And we managed to lose 5-2 this time, and that time it was Red Deer, which is not good.
And Jeff is trying to get us fired.
Yeah, it's a long way off from that yet, but we've kind of screwed up our good start here. A question from Gudu, I was curious how popular minor and junior teams are in cities that have an NHL team. Works pretty well in some. Calgary kind of perpetually leads the WHL in attendance, so even though they've got the Flames, they've got the Hitmen, and those they do pretty well. When I used to live in Calgary and went to a lot of games. Do I want to make any changes here?
You're seeing more and more teams, cities, bringing minor league hockey of something into places just to make it affordable for everyone to go see a hockey game, whether it's the Edmonton Oil Kings or the Calgary Hitmen, or in Winnipeg you got the AHL farm team, the Manitoba Moose, same with San Jose, Toronto. And
there we go, 5-3 win over Edmonton. That kind of brought us back a little bit. Yeah, I mean, sometimes Vancouver, it's the Giants aren't directly connected. They're not owned by the Canucks, and they were playing out of the Canucks' old arena, but they've moved this year. So it's they're kind of the suburban team now, whereas most of the other teams, Edmonton, Calgary, play right out of the NHL team's arena. I was going to say before I've been to a lot of Hitmen games when I was living in Calgary, and it's actually pretty nice. You can go sit the bottom level of the Saddle Dome for the $15 or whatever it was, and which obviously you're add a zero to that if you want to go see an NHL game like that. And yeah, it's a nice environment, and for some reason, just the way the Saddle Dome is built, it doesn't really feel that empty. Everybody's kind of crowded into the bottom level, and you don't really notice the fact that there's a huge block of empty seats up. Okay, we got a Regina Lethbridge trade, nothing huge I don't think, and Stelio Matheos, player of the month, so one of our guys finally. And well, great, we just on the downside, Braden Schneider is out with nausea.
So he's puking before games, and apparently that's become a problem.
He's got a tummy ache, apparently.
Although that's not fun. I do recall many years ago when I was playing in a provincials, and we had a 24-hour flu virus go through our entire team. There was always somebody at the end of the bench puking their guts out into a garbage can.
Yeah, I remember reading Tiger Williams tells a story about when he was with Swift Current and the WHL in the 70s. The team stopped somewhere for food, and I think pretty much everybody ordered the same thing, and they all got sick.
That's fun.
Although I think that may have been their own fault. I think there was, if I remember right, they had like fish sandwiches, like a fillet of fish. There wasn't at a McDonald's, but something like a fillet of fish. And you never, ever order fish on the prairies.
You can.
You have no idea, though, if it's going to be, how fresh it's going to be. When you're like a 15-hour drive, or if you're in Saskatchewan, 20 or 30-hour drive from the nearest ocean.
Fair enough.
Sean's actually at the Spokane Brandon game.
Well, he said watching, wasn't it? Yeah.
He said
Maybe
watching
it's
us
something.
at the Spokane Chiefs Brandon game right now.
What?
Wait, let me just check. 117. Yeah, that's actually, yep, he's at the game. You see in the schedule there, Brandon Spokane. He's in Spokane.
Good at creative ass. What position did I play? I played wherever I got told for the most part. Played a little bit of defense. When I played on some better teams, I was usually put up on the wing.
Yeah, it's pretty much the way it worked for me. I'm a big guy, so when I was my first year, generally because Canadian hockey is basically broken up into age groups that are 2 years in each. So my first year, we lost again. Wow, this is not good. I got to shuffle things around a little bit, although it's not helping that we lost Schneider. Well, at least Edinger improved right defense. What was I going to say?
Talking about how things are.
The age groups. Yeah, I'd play.
Yes.
I wind up, when I was with the bigger kids in my first year in the division, I'd wind up usually playing the wing. And then inevitably, when the following year, where I was one of the older guys, I'd always get moved back to defense because I'd be one of the 2 or 3 biggest guys in the league.
Good Chris says, okay, what was your favorite position to play? My favorite, again, for the most part, it really depended on who I was playing with, and if I had a great defensive partner, it was fun playing with them. If I had a great center and another great winger, it was fun playing with them too, because we had some very interesting games in my time over playing minor hockey, including one where we were escorted off the ice, which was interesting to say the least.
Voluntarily, or?
It turned into team-on-team brawl because one of the players on the opposite team, one of our best players, was coming across the ice, and he was just going to the bench, just like literally skating, just gliding, and one of their guys came off the bench and just absolutely drilled him. And bench is cleared, and it wasn't very pretty. We ended up staying everybody in the locker room until everyone was done, ready to go. It was definitely a little iffy.
How old were you?
That was the first year of midget hockey.
That was like 14, 15?
Yeah. But another good one was, it's always satisfying beating teams who really trashed hockey too, right? So
yeah.
I played on a couple teams where we had some guys who had one guy actually went on to play some professional hockey, didn't make it to the NHL or anything, but I did play against some guys who did and are in the NHL. But there's one where we were playing in a tournament, and there was this really big guy, and twice I scored 2 goals. We were out there with 4-3 advantage, 30 seconds left in the corner, and this guy who ended up playing in the AHL, I don't think he ever made it to the NHL, he just absolutely came in the corner and crushed me. I hardly got up off the ice, and I saw the puck come back, and I just went, oh crap, as this guy came charging at me from in front of the net.
Remember the name?
Not off the top of my head. I could probably look it up if I had hard enough, but man, he hit me so hard. I was surprised I didn't have a concussion. I could hardly get up off the ice just because I had no energy left. Okay, one of the guys who I did play hockey is Justin Falk,
Okay, yeah.
which he's currently with Buffalo, I believe. Actually, I think he was just called Evander Kane some words in the news here not very long ago.
Yeah, apparently Kane's on the trading block again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Well, he's a free agent at the end of the year. Trying to think. That other guy's name is just not coming to me right now. But some decent hockey players.
And finally, we get a win here, 6-2 over Regina. So I actually shuffled the lineup around a little bit while we were talking, and that did some good. So let's hope we are back on track here. I don't think we've fallen too far. Yeah, we're still only 3 points out of first with a couple of games in hand over Regina, so we got lots of room to maneuver here. But I think I'll keep this lineup as it is for a little bit. Wasn't it Dano that Chara hit in the back of the head? I think so. Good as asking in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Montreal-Boston game.
Yes, yeah. Dano, yeah. I heard, my brain heard Marco Dano. I heard Dano. What? And I'm like, no, that didn't. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, I think that was pretty brutal. I mean, you could see Chara was really broken up about it too, really.
Yeah, everybody looked a little shook up from the replay I saw. Okay. And a 5-2 win for us, so maybe we are back on track, although I'd really like that backup of ours to heat up a bit. Both of the goalies are cold at the moment. We're not playing particularly badly. If they heat up, we might be in really good shape. And we will watch the next game because that's against Kelowna.
Yep, they should destroy Kelowna. Let's be honest.
How is Kelowna doing in this? They're actually they've gotten a little cut and kind of hot lately. They're, I think, in the CHL top 10 just came out. So we may have a shot at the Memorial Cup this year. Looks like they lost to Regina in OT tonight. And, not doing so well, about 500. Vancouver's leading the BC division. Portland on top of the US. Spokane not doing too well. Nobody really falling too far back here. Thoughts on the Canadian Olympic roster? Good is asking.
I kind of spoke a little bit about that on the Florida stream, but I was a little bit surprised at a couple of the admissions, but I'm really happy for some guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Brule getting another shot at least. Maybe he can get back into the league often this.
Yeah, I was really glad to see Che Genoway get a shot at it.
Yep.
Guy who played very well, is not very big, but...
Which probably works on the ice, and Kelowna makes it 1-0, so I'm not sure who I'm really cheering for here. 'Cause I want to see Kelowna do a little bit better, but we kind of need to get a win because we're still, unless you won something in one of your off-night streams, we have yet to win a championship in any of the streams that we've done, which is getting a little bit embarrassing at this point.
Oh yeah, we totally won the championship with Florida. That's why the video was only 20 minutes long, archived on our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/.
Oh, you actually put that one up, the one where you lost you got swept in the first round?
Of course I did. I'm hurt that you would think I wouldn't do that.
I thought you were maybe just kind of doing a trial game there, and we get back to that next week, starting at the playoffs, but...
No, we're simming to start to the next season.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't have any. We didn't have any. I think our first round pick was our first pick in the draft was 5th round. So.
And we're losing to Kelowna here, and just went 2 men short, and we're getting off, and we're getting chances, but Kelowna is shutting us down. Salmond and Kelowna goal, 42 saves so far, and we wind up losing 2-1. But I don't think that's really a problem with way we played, we just ran into a really hot goalie there. I'm not going to make any changes on top of that. Are we done this? Oh, we've been done the road trip for a little while already. We got Kamloops next, so both BC teams coming through Manitoba. And we've got about, what, 3 games left before the Christmas break, where we get 11 days off over the holidays.
Yes, well, part of that's for the World Juniors, right? So,
sort of. I mean, it's more. I think they had a Christmas break built in even before the World Juniors was a big thing, and that'll be a question. I mean, let's see how many guys we put on the under 20 team, because I'm assuming, is Clay young enough? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on it this year.
Yeah, duh. I'm thinking. We've got a few candidates. Clay Lewis, possibly Matheos. So we're gonna maybe have a little bit of an issue. I'm just gonna double check how many guys we've got signed before we get into that part of the year, and make sure I can bring players up if I need to cover.
Sounds like a plan.
And we got another storyline. Luke Zazula of Kamloops, apparently on his way here, must have been a restaurant in Brandon because they're playing us tonight. He fell off a chair while trying to pick up a piece of drop pizza. Because, 3-second rule.
Of course. Of course.
Would have still been good.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to check contracts. We only got 22 guys signed, and we got 23 on the roster because the NHL guys. That's why that's like that. Anybody I don't have under contract that I need to? I think I may actually try to grab a couple of... No, the free agent center probably is not going to be any use to me here, yeah. Grab a couple of like 16, 17-year-olds that have been overlooked.
Gudu says, 3 seconds real cost him 3 weeks.
Yep. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention at the start was my mouse. The contact and my left mouse button is starting to go. I've got another one on order, but not here yet, so I'm double-clicking sometimes when I don't mean to, or not getting a click at all when I want to.
That's always fun.
So, yeah, that... If you see a screen suddenly open and close, that's not the game doing that, that's my crappy hardware.
So you found anyone of interest yet?
Just filtering, and it's out of my not. Yeah, okay, it's pretty thin. What's this, Bordelozzi? He's in Quebec, I can't sign him. Okay, who's this? Kyle Bettens, playing in the Manitoba Junior League, wants to play junior. Okay, I can give this guy a contract. Local boy. I wonder if that's a brother of our Bettens, or if it's even assuming it's a real player.
Not sure.
or another. Just got a little extra depth for that to cover for that point where we're gonna potentially lose some guys to the World Juniors, and we blow Kamloops out 7-1. Logan Thompson's still not getting hot, but at least we've got, as we were talking before, about wanting to get a little more offense out of our guys, and this definitely qualifies. Big game for Connor Gutenberg. Tanner Kaspic also had a good one, 80 game score.
All right.
And Wegleitner, who hasn't been playing a lot for us, had a hat trick. Can't remember. There's a Wegleitner that played for Kelowna's old team, the WHL. I don't know if that's his son or not. He'll be about the right age.
Not sure. I don't recognize the name, so.
No, he was just like a 7th defenseman, Mike Wegleitner. But, I mean, the name's unusual enough that it could be the same guy. Or son of the same guy. And Rockets beat Moose Jaw 3-1, so... Kelowna having an apparently successful road trip. He wants... And no, he doesn't get Stelio Matheos' number. He can have 14. He doesn't like that, but too bad. You're a kid straight out of junior A, so... I'm not going to give that to you yet. I'm just going to keep him on the roster. I'm not going to play him yet until we get up to the World Juniors, where I think I'm going to need him potentially.
Sounds like a good plan.
Could get a little in. Kelowna wins again. Swift Current 2-0. So they're turning their season around apparently. Getting a little close to the NHL trade deadline, still a month and a half away, but if it's anything like last year, I think we may start to see deals soon.
I said Pittsburgh really wants to make a deal.
And 4-1 for Brandon over Lethbridge, and we are on a roll now. Moose Jaw tomorrow night, big game. And Kelowna's good luck runs out. They got shut out 6-0 in Prince Albert.
Just as you would expect. I mean, oh man, that's terrible.
Yeah. We'd like to get Edinger back in the lineup, but Whitney's been playing pretty well, and we've got him in the trade block, so not going to move that yet. But a big win here would help. And we win 4-3.
All right.
Yeah, was that in... Yeah, it looks like we got a goal sometime in the third. Oh, 20 seconds left. Broke the tie. Reinhardt from Kaspic and Matheos. So we'll just take a look at the standings in a couple of seconds, and I think we should be a little closer to the top, if not at the top. Wow, Regina 12-0 over Lethbridge.
Oof, that's a big one.
And looks like we got a few days off here. Or are we into our Christmas break now? Maybe. I think we may have started ahead of everybody else. Donovan Knowles has a 4-point night and tears his tricep tendon in the same game.
That's a rough one.
And we are still 2 points back of Regina, but we're 3 games. We've got 3 games in hand, and we're a point up on Swift Current. So, yeah, it's not exactly the same teams that are contending in real life, but it's still a pretty tight race at the top of the division. Medicine Hat looks like they're having a good year. Vancouver and Portland still leading. Now, what does the schedule do from here on in? Yeah, we don't have another game until the 27th, so I'll just continue on. Don't think... Oh, yeah, we should get the World Junior roster announcement in a few more days.
And see how many guys we lose.
Yeah. Guessing Clegg for sure. Possibly Lewis. Maybe Matheos. That seems unlikely. Yeah, the good news is, though, the other teams in the league may be losing guys as well. Kelowna lost a bunch of guys over Christmas, so, and they're just starting to get them back now. I think Dubé is finally back in the lineup the other night. Right. And just waiting for it to simmer onto there. Thanks to my slow system, it takes a little bit.
All right.
And we've also, it's also probably setting up the rosters for the tournaments in the next week or so. Vancouver and two division leaders making a trade. Baker from Medicine Hat to Vancouver for Dallawall.
Let's trade away everybody for #1 picks. Let's go.
That we can't actually use for another 2 more years, so we'll be fired long before then.
No. See, that's one thing a little bit different than the other 2 leagues, right? Is the Bantam draft the WHL has.
Yeah, that they draft players a year before they're allowed to. They can play 10 games in the year in the league, plus the playoffs the year of their draft, or the year after they're drafted, because they draft in the spring.
Yeah.
Junior starts on the 26th, so one more sim forward. Yeah, they. But the players selected in draft gen, basically they don't get into the lineup regularly for, it's like a full year and a half almost after they're drafted.
Yeah. Which is different than like the OHL, which there's actually, if you want, if a 16-year-old wants to play, then they have to be
15-year-old.
All approved. 15-year-old, they have to be all approved.
They can opt into the draft. Guys. Yeah, Tavares and
Ekblad was one.
Yeah, that's it. It's coming up like one every maybe 3 years or so.
Yeah, Bob McKenzie's last book actually had a really nice big piece through it. I think it was Bob McKenzie's last book. If you haven't read that.
Nope. What do you say about it?
Well, no, he just talked about like the process of going through. I think it was for Tavares.
For getting the eligibility if you're not.
Yeah, and talked about like his uncle playing lacrosse.
Yep.
Really good book. Just have it sitting somewhere around me, but can't see it in arm's length. So.
Yeah, I got a couple of books over the holidays. One, the World Hockey Association fact book. So, looking to add a few more things to the WHA for historical.
Oh, nice. I picked up over the holidays, or was given over the holidays, a couple more classic NHL books. I took the new book on the California Golden Seals that came out by Steve Currier. A Tale of White Skates, Red Ink, and one of the NHL's most outlandish teams.
That'd be interesting. And guess what? We've got 2 guys on the team, but one of them isn't Clegg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ty Lewis and Tanner Kaspick actually made it. Wow. Kaspik's actually been one of our better players this season, but he's going to be one of the weaker ones on Team Canada. You can see he's only 3.5 stars. Most of them are 3.5 stars now that I look at it. A few 4-star guys. And
kind of what you would expect.
Yeah, just but what is Clegg? Oh, Clegg's 3.5, so it's all right. He would have been close. But anyhow, we've lost Lewis. And I think what I'm going to do is just dress 2 guys and shuffle the lines. So I think Sekundiak goes back in, and we'll try the new Bettens kid out for a little bit, see how he does.
The other book I got while you're doing that is Hockey Night Fever by Stephen Cole.
About Hockey Night in Canada?
Hockey Night Fever is Mullets, Mayhem, and the game's coming of age in the 1970s. I mean, Mullets and Mayhem. What else could you possibly want?
Really, were there a lot of mullets in the 70s, though? It was more the, like, big mustaches, and, I don't remember, mullets was more of an 80s thing.
Yeah, but no, well, you got Bobby Clark was basically rocking a mullet.
Yeah, was he? He had, like, the long curly hair like me, so...
yeah, that's pretty much a mullet, though, Jeff. Get it. Short in the front, party in the back.
There we go. And with our 2 key guys out of the lineup, we lose 2-1 in overtime to Regina. At least we got a point out of it, but that kind of hurts. Bettens, the new Bettens, got a point, so maybe he sticks with us after we get our guys back, but we'll see. And we'll also keep a look on the I'll check every couple of days on the World Under 20 tournament to see how our guys are doing. We will get a news message, or at least we should, if either one of them does anything significant in the tournament. But if they're quiet, there may not be any news. And Kandorf starts off with a win. And we got another game tonight against Regina. Let's see if we can do a little bit better than that first one. And no, we get blown out 6-2. The goalies are starting to be a little bit of a concern. I mean, the numbers aren't bad, but they don't seem to be getting a lot at all. If they ever picked it up, we'd be, I think, solidly in first place. Especially now that we're scoring a little bit more. Yeah, Canada beat Finland that first night. And I mean, you were just saying a little earlier that you were playing ahead in the Florida game, and you're actually going to be coaching the Finnish under 20 team, I think.
Yes.
So we'll be doing a little bit of that next week. So we'll actually get to play in the World Junior Championships either next stream or the one after that, depending on how quickly you get ahead.
Yeah, well, as I seemed ahead, and my Wheat Kings game was going a heck of a lot better than yours, so I actually, not going to lie, I kind of decided to keep Simon through this Florida one since it was middle of July. I think might as well get caught up.
And we got a minor injury here, and now we lose 3-1. So we are struggling without our key guys. Got another game New Year's Eve, looks like, against Moose Jaw. And I mean, if there's a finer place to spend New Year's Eve than Moose Jaw, I don't know.
In the juice, what else could you possibly want?
Nothing wrong with Moose Jaw. It's a fine town. Conveniently located if you, for some reason, are driving across the prairies and don't want to stay in Regina. And the WHL player poll is out, but looks like none of our guys got mentioned as the best guy in the league in a category.
Well, that's just wrong.
Kyler Yamamoto of Spokane, the Oilers draft pick, is the fastest and the best skater. And everybody wants to play for Don Hay and Kamloops, so apparently we're not that popular a coach yet.
That's gonna take
And there we
quite a
go. Logan Thompson shuts out Moose Jaw in the big New Year's Eve game, so finally he's got at least one heat rating.
while. Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
I had an American friend when I was living down in the States who thought, like Chinese Szechuan food.
Yep.
He thought that was pronounced Saskatchewan. So,
Yeah,
dude, the letters aren't even there. Where are you getting that from?
Not quite. Not quite at all.
Oh, we had a development report there I skipped over. And yeah, this is the nice thing about playing as a junior team. You rarely see guys go downhill, and
if you do, you trade them away immediately.
Yeah, even our oldest guy in the team, Evan Weinger, is actually got the biggest improvement there. McCorster up 3, and Johnny Hooker are going to probably be our number 1 center in a few years. Picks up 3 points there, so I don't think I see anybody with more star improvement who's moved up a half star, but still pretty good for the team. And yeah, we've got a pretty regular schedule for January. It looks like a long road trip in the second half of it.
Well, that seems to be for Brandon. They do a lot of road trips.
Yep.
Which they should, since they are the farthest team to the east.
Yeah, by a long shot.
We're not going to go over We're not going over this again. We're not going over which team is the closest to them. Got 2 separate streams already. We're not doing it again.
Okay. No, for some reason I just got this thing where I always picture a Czech that's picked up Slovakian, a guy who's from Wales got English nationality, which is kind of questionable, and a Czech who's been playing in Poland for a few years gets Polish nationality, and they will. It's not announced here, but they can also decide to change national teams if they're not playing for their current national team, and they've got a second nationality that they may switch over at some point. So it wouldn't surprise me if that Polish guy, he's 37, the Czech guy who just got Polish nationality, we may see him switching to the Polish national team. I think they do that in the off season, if I remember right.
Okay, there seems to be an error happening again with your video, Jeff.
No.
Seems to have cut. Mine switched to an ad, then came back.
Are we still? We're
okay,
still going.
Guido says he's back. Yeah, it came back on. Yeah, it cut for some reason.
Okay. And kind of a big trade, Lethbridge, Dylan Cozens, who's a really top-level prospect, traded from Lethbridge to Kelowna for Caden Korczak, who's another fairly good prospect, a year older and on the same age, I guess. But forward for defenseman move there. And we got a game tonight against Regina. See if we can build on that last shutout.
Here's hoping.
And we do, 2-1 win. Thompson doesn't get an extra flame out of it, though. And I think, oh wow, we were almost on top of the trade deadline. I hadn't noticed that. And WHL trade deadline is early. It's January 10th, I think. Real life, I gotta check it, but maybe a little bit different in the game. What did YouTube do to... You can't edit videos back together anymore?
No, they changed what was available for a bunch of things, so it's just causing more issues than it needs to be. hopefully it all works out. I'll get it fixed eventually. It's just one of those things you just scratch your head at.
Yeah, well, they're doing a lot of weird stuff. I cut back on who's allowed to monetize streams I saw today.
Yeah.
So basically everybody's just going to be botting and getting fake followers to meet the minimum requirements, so it's kind of stupid. Canada goes 4-0 in the round robin side of the World Juniors, so they're playing Denmark in the first round of the playoffs. And just going to take a quick look to see how our guys are doing. Oh, okay, something is wrong with the stats. Apparently, are they showing... It looks like it's showing the NHL stats. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Hang on. Just gotta wait for a second for it to generate. But yeah, that'll show the roster screens, and if I do that... And, oh, no, something's wrong there. Yeah, it shouldn't be blank during a tournament. I'll have to take a look at that. Somebody reported that in our test forum, and I thought it was... They were just looking after the tournament is over, but something's definitely wrong there.
Alright.
Okay, so fortunately we're in the middle of working on a patch, so we can get that fixed.
Update,
sorry. That's... Andreas gets mad if we say patch. It's an update. It's an update that patches the game.
But I said we got a lot of good things going on here.